When she was 5 months pregnant, she started to, have signs of miscarriage. I think the turnaround time in my life became that moment. First thing first, I see on the floor, it's a placenta. I don't even know that it's a placenta.
Sure.
The pulse is dropping,
Sure.
and I'm like, "What's that?" And she says to me, "If it's not picking up, your child is going to die." I can't even break the news to my mom. I can't tell. I don't know where to go.
Sure.
It feels like the world is about to swallow me alive. My relationship with you, it's pure, it's genuine. And then if I can't see you in the picture, I'm not going to stand and perform. So I said to him, God, I'm closing the church with immediate effect. My name is Clement. I'd like to file for divorce.
Do you think you fell out of love with her?
Yeah, I did.
Hello there, Sanbonani Dumelang. Hola, and welcome to your favorite podcast. It's none other than I've Been Through the Most podcast right here on Centtwinz TV. Thank you so much, guys. I really love the way they're interacting. I mean, it's huge. We always tell you, let's meet in the comment section below. But for real, Sen fam, you go in the comment section and you interact so well, and we appreciate your love. Also, do remember we are available on our different social media platforms. So Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, we are everywhere. So please stay in touch there and make sure you follow, like, and of course, subscribe right here on YouTube. We're also available on our digital platforms, Millicent. Yes, on all those audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere where a podcast is available, you can just search for Centtwinz TV and we are there. And you can listen to all these incredible life-changing stories. Also, shout out to you, Sen Fam, for being an award-winning podcast. Yeah. Because we are a 3-time award-winning podcast right now, which is something so huge. So thank you to all of you at home for watching. Now, the reason why we win these awards, Innocent, is because the guests that come onto the show are so vulnerable to share their testimony so that they can inspire and impact your lives at home. So today we have another incredible one. His name is Clement. Welcome to the show, brother.
I must say thank you for having me.
Yes.
It feels like a dream, though,
Like it's really happening.
It's happening like finally.
Yeah, I know. Finally, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know it's my first time meeting you today, but of course you've had an interaction with Millicent, which is fantastic. But for some of me and the viewers who don't know who Brother Clement is, can you give us a background of who you are?
Sure. Where do I start? I'm a man who wears many hats, but if there's one thing that I think it's a like the biggest summary of who I am. I'm a child of God, a born-again Christian who received Jesus as his Lord and Savior 2008. I was doing my grade 12 by then. And I'm glad that I'm still holding on to the faith. The journey was not easy, though. It was, it had its own ups and downs. I'm an evangelist. I go through, different schools every year. From 2010, I've been doing that, going to different schools, ministering to young people. My kids, they know me as Pastor Chauke. Everywhere I go. So I'm their pastor. I love them so much.
And you're giving that youth pastor vibe actually.
Yeah.
I can see how you get along with young people.
Yeah, I'm still youth. 35 next year. So next
you are 100%
next
youth.
year I'm kissing you goodbye. Like my
Wait,
heart.
doesn't mean me and you are not youth anymore. No, we are. I don't know what are we senior citizens.
Yeah, so next year I'm kissing it goodbye.
Sure.
So I must say I'm excited that today I'm here and to share my story with people. I'm a church pastor, pastoring a church called Transformational Grace Ministries.
Wow.
Yeah, and my journey as a pastor, it had its own fallout. So by the way, what I can say is I'm a bounced back pastor.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, and a bounced back Christian, a bounced back a whole lot of things, I'm here today to share about my story, the journey that I've walked, the story of divorce. Divorce being something that I've seen taking great men down on their knees. Some have interacted with them, and as we speak, unfortunately, some they threw in a towel. For them, it's the thing of we don't see ourselves bouncing back after everything that has happened.
Sure.
So it is by God's grace that I'm here. And when I became born again, received the salvation that told us what you need to do and how one must live their lives.
Great.
I remember reading in the book of Timothy where it says, Timothy, my son, I urge you to become an example to believers in speech, in conduct, in purity, and in love. So when I read this 2009, that was my second year in salvation. It's the scripture that inspired me that I need to walk the walk. I need to talk the talk. And the more I did that, walking the path of righteousness, I forgot that God took me from a pit of sin, and then I started to walk a journey as though I was born righteous, and everything that I've done, walking the walk that I will never have a child out of wedlock. There are things that I've vowed to myself, and all the boxes were ticking, and even before I got married, I even vowed to myself that the day I get married, I will never divorce. So everything about me was, you become an example. And I thought to myself that being an example is when you have it all figured out. And until, boom, one day it was all taken away from me.
Sure. Wow. And I it's also very rare where you find men talking about divorce, right? Because it's such a stigma. Because you guys like always strong, and then it's the women that break down, and we can see the effects of divorce with them. But with men, it's like, I know it's a very painful process, which is why God hates divorce.
Yeah.
But men don't talk about it publicly. So for you as a pastor, as somebody that's been born again, who is saying, listen, I want to speak about my divorce, I think it's very commendable, because I think it's going to open up a very important conversation amongst men and amongst brothers, right? So get into that. You said it literally just something that happened, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure it didn't just happen.
It didn't just happen.
What exactly did happen?
When I got married, I was, I think, 28 years old. Yeah, I was 28 years old that time when I got married. As a child, I think one of the highlights that I will throw in, my mother is blessed with 4 kids. One passed on 2007. It's a twin sister to my older sister. And then I also have a twin sister as well. But we're not identical.
But you are a twin. That's what matters.
Yes, I'm a twin.
So wait, so there's 4 of you because there's 2 sets of twins.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
How amazing. Your mom is so blessed.
Yeah. So grew up in a family. I was raised by my grandparents.
Okay.
And we stayed with my cousins. I think it was 5 of us or 6 of us. All of them were girls. And I was the only boy, And that on its own, I had to figure things out for myself. So growing up as a child, I was a soloist in a whole lot of things. I had to learn how to survive by myself. I had to learn how to learn the streets by myself. So that thing on its own, it had built that nature in me of you can do things by yourself. You don't need anybody. So even when I became born again, I didn't know that thing, it was the strongest part of me. It defined who I am. So basically, I grew up not being a team player. And when I go for a thing, I go for a thing. I make sure that I make things happen. So got into marriage when I'm 28, and I didn't know that I have it in me, that thing. And to a certain extent, it will affect my marriage. The first year when I got married, there's I was into music business, and I remember back then there was a lady that I was managing before getting married. And I remember after getting married, the first year, one of the things that made marriage difficult for me was when my ex-wife wanted to be a part of what I was doing. I always had a thing of pushing her back.
Okay.
For me, it came across as you are intruding. And it came across as that because, like I'm saying, I've had it in me that you are a soloist, and then when somebody becomes part of you, it's only when you invite them. But with marriage, it's a different story.
Yeah, because you are one.
Yeah, so I kept on having those things of pushing her away, and the work that I was doing again, it made me, time and again to spend time outside, like give the world my 80 and the marriage my 20. And then at the same time, I'm pastoring a church, and this is the part where I want to come to. I'm pastoring a church. The weakness that pastors we have is that we don't have a 9 to 5 schedule. Our schedule is 24 to 24, so we do it 24 hours. So as a child, I was like that. When the church wants me 3 a.m. in the morning, I respond to the call. When the church want me 3 p.m. in the afternoon, I respond to the call. So I was that guy who always went all out for the church. So even when my ex-wife kept on crying and say, "You are neglecting me," for me, I saw it as her being nagging, and then at the same time, I looked at her as someone who is against the work of the Lord. I've interpreted it that way. So time and again, whenever she will voice out things about how I do things, you spend lots of money for your church, people that you are pastoring, and then when it comes to my needs, I feel neglected. For me, it will come across as you are fighting God's work. And then fast forward, the sad part is when those things start to happen, they build resentment in a person.
Yeah.
So when resentment grows in you, you start to dislike a person, and then one thing leads to the other. You become hostile towards a person to such an extent that being hostile towards her, it's something that I had normalized. And fast forward, I remember when she fell pregnant in 2019. For me, I was excited about it, that I'm gonna have a child. I kept the promise that I'll never have a child out of wedlock. Now the box is gonna tick, I'm going to have a child. Then she falls pregnant. When she was 5 months pregnant, she started to have signs of miscarriage. We went to doctors, went to clinics, and they tried to treat her there and there. And then when she was 6 months pregnant, I remember there's a day when she was at her family's home, and then her mom called me and she said she has bleeding. She's bleeding, and by the look of things, we need to rush her to the hospital. And then I remember her mom saying, "I know you have the thing of you're a man of God, faith and all those things." And to a certain extent, as a child, I even abused the faith because I would overlook certain things, especially the medical aspect of things. But that day, I remember her mom convincing me, say, "I know you, please, today I ask you, let's take her to the hospital." And then we went to the hospital. When we got there, she was, I think, 4 centimeters dilated. And then now they're saying she's gonna give birth. And then I'm like, this is not happening. And then when we go to the hospital, I remember they said to us, she's supposed to, if she's giving birth, we're supposed to transfer her to the hospital where she was doing consultation. We cannot admit her here. And then I remember breaking down and said, "You are going to admit her here." For 10 seconds, I forgot that I'm a pastor. I remember I was so loud, I was so violent, so much so that the hospital decided, okay, let's admit her. And then they admitted her. And then midnight, because I was waiting to, for my name to be called. Midnight, my name gets called, Clement, and then I go to the ward. I think the turnaround time in my life became that moment. So I get into the ward, And then when I get there, first thing first I see on the floor, it's a placenta. I don't even know that it's a placenta.
Sure.
And I'm like, what's this thing? For me, it was scary because for some reason I thought maybe she gave birth to a thing that I don't know what it is. And I remember the sister coming to me and say, your child is lying there. And then she is saying to me, I'm like, so what's happening? So she says to me, the pulse is dropping.
Sure.
And I'm like, what's that? And she says to me, if it's not picking up, the child is going to die. That time, I'm like, oh, God, what do we do? I can't even pray. I'm dry. I'm all dead. Now, I go there to the child. I'm looking at my ex-wife. She's crying as well, crying the loudest. At that time, I'm like, what do we do? Because everyone is looking at me. You are a man of God. You're going to pray. Things are going to happen. I can't pray, you know. And that moment, it was difficult. Then I remember the pulse kept on dropping. And it's the 5th now of December, from the 4th to the 5th. And then the child didn't make it.
Sure.
Then I'm like, what
So
do we
sorry.
think? So I'm like, what do we call this? I'm having that conversation with myself and with God. God, where are you? Like now it goes back to, remember I said when I became born again, everything about me, it's gonna be right, it's gonna be an example. How am I gonna explain to the church that they are men of God who has faith, who is all powerful, just lost a child through miscarriage? How am I gonna tell them? Then I left the hospital heartbroken. One of the things shattered. So I get home, it was around 4 a.m. in the morning. When I got outside the car, I was scared, very much scared. I remember I couldn't even sleep. The next day in the morning, I can't even break the news to my mom. I can't tell. I don't know where to go.
Sure.
It feels like the world is about to swallow me alive. What am I going to say to people who are looking up to me?
Yes.
Everyone is looking up to, the day the child is coming. Other people, they're like, the excitement. I'm going to be the aunt. My nieces, they're also excited. There's going to be a child in our family. We're going to play with her. And then I remember that morning, having to go out looking at my grandma. And she heard what happened. My grandmother raised me, and the only thing she kept on saying to me is, don't cry, it's gonna be all right.
Yes.
Don't cry, it's gonna be all right. I couldn't say anything. I kept on crying and crying. And then the next chapter now becomes, I need to go to the hospital, go fetch my ex-wife. The painful thing now is we went to the hospital with a child inside her tummy. We leave the hospital without a child. And I remember on the parking lot, people leaving hospitals with kids. I've never felt like a failure the way I felt that day. That time I'm not even having a conversation with God.
Yes.
I'm not at all. And painful thing is, after miscarriage, the body still identifies itself as pregnant. So the milk is coming out. But there's no child to feed from that milk. Then we had to go home. I think that thing broke me. And I remember her every night waking up crying, saying, I want the child. And I'm like, don't worry, we will have a child. And she said, no, I want that one. You know, having to go, I think, a period of 7 days. And the very same day when we went home, the next day in the morning when I wake up, I get message that one of my mentors as well has just passed on. And it happens to be the late Nazim. And it becomes a double blow. For me, I'm like, God, where are you? What's happening? Now, my church, that they text me to check, how are you guys? How are you doing? I'm like, we lost a child. I just tell a few people we lost a child, and I say to them, please make sure that you don't text my ex-wife. Yeah, because I felt that there's a need to protect her, you know, and dealing with all that was happening. And then, yeah, so I remember from there telling my church that, oh, we won't have a church service from the following Sunday. So I told God, I'm like, God, you know my business with you. I've never been a person who stand before people and pretend, you know. My relationship with you, it's pure, it's genuine. And then if I can't see you in the picture, I'm not gonna stand and perform. So I said to him, God, I'm closing the church with immediate effect. And then I closed the church. And I told my church members, we done. And then it broke their hearts. You know, for me, I don't see it as losing many things all at once. But first what I realized, you lost a child, you lost a church. And church is people. These are relationships that it took you years to build. That church, I've pastored it for 7 years. So I closed it down. Then the following year, it's the year of COVID. And then when all the lockdowns came, for me, I was like, it's a saving grace. People won't even see that.
Actually needed the time.
Yeah, people won't see that our church actually is closed because everyone is at home. And then we continued in our marriage. So I think when the miscarriage thing happened, for me, I've had the question of, what really happened, what led to this. And little did I know that in my subconscious mind also there was a thing of, to a certain extent, I kind of like blame her, not fully blame her, but those things of, you have many questions. And then that became again the next step of resentment towards her. And then we started growing apart. And then 2021, then we moved to our own place together. I thought that going there, you know, it's gonna be a new start for us. You know, we're gonna be happy and all that. And then that time, God blessed us with a child, Botlare, and then my beautiful girl that I love so much. Yeah, and then we were together then, but we continuously grew apart. And then when the child became sick, because my firstborn, you know, had, you know, the moments when she was sick. When she became sick, I kind of like, to a certain extent, blamed her. And that was me contributing to us growing apart. Yeah, that was my contribution, because the resentment even led to such an extent of there was no longer intimacy. We will go a week without intimacy. A week will become 2 weeks. 2 weeks will become a month.
And the more you grow apart.
Yeah, the more we grew apart. And that became our new norm. And then I kept on asking myself, what will our saving grace be? And it kept on building up and building up. And I remember...
Did you guys go for therapy after
No.
the miscarriage? No.
No, we didn't. And I think
Did you see anyone at all?
No. And I think this is one of the things I will also, you know, encourage people who are married. If you experience such things, go and see someone who can help you to walk the path. Because with us, it was the thing of, we take things and then we do it by ourselves. So we didn't get any professional help after that.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you're still broken from this one issue, and you're carrying that with you to the next, hoping that it will go away, but it didn't go away. And then you still have issues personally that you are also dealing with.
My own,
Your own, and obviously she probably had her own. And then there's the relationship, and everything just builds up. It
just built up. And then, when my child Botare was born, I also had that thing of being protective. It came from a subconscious mind as well. I can't afford to lose you like I lost the first child through miscarriage. So the unfortunate part is the time that I was spending with my firstborn Botare, I was spending that time with my ex-wife as well. So now what happens? When I protect her, I actually protect her from my ex-wife. I remember the other day when she was bathing her, I think she was about 6 months old. The child fell. I was in the other room. I heard the sound go.
Sure.
And I remember going into the room. I was so aggressive. How could you do that? I just burst and all that, and I took the child. And for me, when I had anger towards her, like being aggressive, it was a normalized thing. I didn't see it as a wrong thing. It was a normalized thing.
It was normalized because the relationship was already so toxic.
Yeah.
Right? And so much had gone wrong that is unresolved. That
Even a
spiraled
mistake.
out of control. Because you could have
basically.
dropped the baby as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
true.
then you feel like, what kind of parent are you?
Yeah.
But I get it. If you've gone through that kind of loss, you're trying to, you have an anxiety actually, over this one. Okay. Sure.
And then fast forward now, when Botare is in the picture, the mother get a job. So where she gets a job, it's about, I think it was about 50 kilometers from where we were staying. And then for me, it came across as, how can you take a job knowing that it's far from where we are staying? Number one, we don't even have a car. Then we get into, that argument of we need to, live where we are staying, move closer. And for me, it was, no, we're not going to do that. It came across as, so are you saying I must follow you? Are you the one who's leading here? So now the ego thing kicks in. And one of my biggest weaknesses that I'm dealing with as a person is to always tone down my ego. Paul speak about the anointing that he received from God and revelations that he saw. And he says, I know of a man in Christ whom ancient ago was caught up to the third heaven. And to keep me from boasting, I was given me a thorn in my flesh. So I think even with me, these things, some of them that happened, it was to, tone down my ego. Because I will walk down into the studio to them and be like, guys, I'm a married man. I have it all figured out. This is the blueprint. And everyone who hasn't done it right, you all go to hell.
Life has a way of humbling you, hey?
It humbled me. So
wow.
we contested about her getting a job, and she was like, I really need this job. And I remember when she, she took a step and said, I'm going to take this job. It led to an extent where she found herself during the week staying at her parents' home because it was closer to the workplace. Okay. So for me now, it come across again as, you are rejecting me.
And disobeying me.
And disobeying me.
Don't take this job.
And second thing is, I lost the child through miscarriage. Now you are taking my child away.
I was about to say, now it means the baby has to be with the mom for the week. So you only see the child on weekends.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is, when she was with the mom during the week, she would fall sick. I remember first time when she was with the mom during the week, she fell sick. And then when she fell sick, we took her to the doctor. I was sitting there and the doctor was busy applying diagnosis. And he was like, first virus, rhinovirus. I diagnosed her with 5 viruses. And then I looked at her.
You blamed her again.
Yeah, you see? And then it had built now that thing in me of, actually, you are against me.
Clement.
Yeah. Yeah. So it came across as
Yo.
that. Yeah. So we are having our own dynamics. I'm always fighting with her. And then now it's the thing of, if you want to pursue your career and your job, do your thing. I'll do my thing. Yeah. And then the ego again kicks in, you know. And then I remember we kept on drifting apart. And then that period, it happened that during school holidays, she came to our house. I was with her. We became intimate, but we were apart. But at the same time, we became intimate.
Okay.
And then she went back home. And then when schools closed, she came, and then for about a week, we became intimate. School reopened, and then she went.
Strangers again.
Yeah, she went back home. And then fast forward, I think she realized that she's pregnant.
Yeah.
And now it's gonna be like, we don't stay together and you are pregnant. Now she's pushing to come back and find a way to travel to work.
Yeah.
And I remember she pushed and found a way to travel to work. And the other day I go and pick her up and she said to me, I'm pregnant. And I looked at her like, whose child?
You forgot.
And I have to backdate. And as I was backdating,
can you imagine this Clement that she was dealing with?
like,
My goodness,
like,
you are something else.
I was something else.
It's
I
understandable
was
because
toxic.
remember they were not intimate for a long time. So I guess even the time that it happened to you, it's like
Yeah.
it's
that thing of
it happens
a married
so
man.
less.
You married man, you
Exactly.
miss the things. Let's do the things.
My
You know?
goodness.
Yeah. And then from there, she's pregnant with her second child, you know.
Yeah.
And then the pregnancy as well, the journey, it was because there was resentment towards her. Everything, it was just a trigger for me. And, you know, like Saul, the Bible says one day he will look at David and take a javelin and try to pin him against the wall. So it was me on daily basis. I would look at him like, I'm going to pin you against the wall today.
Sure.
Yeah, so we've had those constant fights. Her second pregnancy, what I can say is I was not even present. It was the thing of do it by yourself, you know.
And babies, and that's a good point because babies don't always fix solutions.
Yeah,
You know,
In marriage,
in marriage, because
I thought the child was gonna fix.
yes,
gonna
a
fix.
lot of people
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
they bring in a pregnancy or a child and you think, we're going to be, fall right back into each other's arms
Yeah.
without realizing that sometimes it actually brings a bigger strain, right? And highlights some of the issues that are already at hand.
Sure. So that 2022, when she was pregnant with our second baby, it was our 4th year in marriage.
Okay.
So when it's our 4th year in marriage, around July, she gave birth in June. And then July, she had to stay with her parents so that they can help her nurture the child. I remember I was there by myself in that house. I looked every day when I looked at those walls, they were driving me crazy. You know, I will become angry. It was a whole lot of things playing. Your church is closed down. Your ex-wife is not here. Your kids are not here. Like, dude, you have nothing. And the more anger started building up. And then I'm the one who's now like, I think this marriage thing is not working. Now imagine myself single. I'm like, maybe if I can be single, you know, things will be good. Because, wow.
Because you're feeling lonely. You feel
I'm
single, but you're
alone.
married.
Yeah,
You know?
wake up in the morning alone, sleep alone. It was all those dynamics and a whole lot of things that were playing in my mind. They call them voices in your head. So I had a voice about the church that closed down. I had a voice about the business that I've lost. I had a voice about the child that I've lost. I had voices about a whole lot of things. Whatever that was happening. So it was me battling against those voices within those 4 walls. And then I kept on texting her. Some days I will wake up angry and just send her very long text, you know, lashing on her, saying stuff and all that. And she was a person who will always be quiet and not respond.
She's got peace.
Yeah. Just read the message, be like, and not respond. And I kept on threatening her with divorce. I'm like, I'm going to divorce. You know, I'm going to divorce. And then repeatedly, you know, when you keep on premeditating on a thing
That's it.
and then keep on confessing it builds and matures. And then I remember there was a day, I think it was August, I said to her, I'm done, I'm gonna file. And she was like, you keep on saying you're gonna file for divorce. If that's what you want to do, do it.
So she was not. She didn't think you guys should divorce.
Yeah, she didn't.
So no matter how the problems that you had, that was not a solution.
Yeah.
You are the one that thought, okay, I think it's time.
I was ambitious in my own world, doing media things, doing music. I was busy, I was ambitious. So much so that when she wanted to be herself in her own world, I looked at it as, I don't know, are you against me or you think you are better, And then that time I'm like, I'm gonna file. And then when she said, if that's what you want to do, then do it. For me, it was like, oh, so you think I'm joking?
It is a challenge.
And I kept on saying to her, you think I'm joking? You think I'm joking?
Sure.
And it kept on building up. So there was a time when it fully matured that now you are doing it. I'm like, now I'm doing it. Where do we go? Lawyers? Do I have money for lawyers? No, I don't.
But wait, do you think you fell out of love with her?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so at that point you didn't love her anymore. You didn't look at her as like, this is someone that I'm in love with.
No.
There was no love.
No,
okay.
It was just anger. Love was replaced with anger. Like I was hostile towards her. Every little thing, I will just boom, lash out. I was something that the world didn't even know that I can be that. Yeah. So it was me within those 4 walls with her. And then first time when I started, doing my research about divorce, how much does it cost and all that. And I saw that there's also a route where you can file for yourself and do it so long as it's not contested. And I remember first time making a call just to check. Started ringing. My heart, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And everything now start to flash back. Dude, remember where you come from, how you started and all those things. Why are you doing this? And they answered the call. Hi, magistrate, that Centurion. And I'm like, my name is Clement. I'd like to file for divorce. And they're like, you need to go to Magistrate Court Pretoria. And then you can't do it telephonic, you must go there in person. I'm like, I'm a public figure. Imagine me going there. We gotta do this thing via call. So there was a day I was tired. I was not, dressing up nice the way I'm dressing now. I'm like, I'm back now, I was wearing my hoodies, like I was kind of like, yeah. I remember approaching that building.
There's no motivation.
Nothing.
There's no motivation to wake up.
Even when you have bathed, it looks like you didn't bath. Yeah. So every time
it's
I
all
think,
here, even in the face, you can see and feel the heaviness.
Yeah. So I remember approaching that building, Magistrate Court. The inner me said to a certain extent, I felt like some mini lawyer, but at the same time, like, ooh. And I get there, I inquire where can I go for, filing for divorce. They say, no, get in here, press the lift, floor number 4. I still remember the floor number 4. Yo. And then you will see a room. It's where you file for divorce. And I go there. When I got there, that room, with bold letters, they wrote divorce.
Yes.
Yeah. So the queue was long.
Yo.
I'm like, I'm gonna be part of this queue. What's gonna happen if somebody who came to my wedding passes here and see? I had to take my hood and cover my head and be like, we ain't doing that. Yes. We gotta file, but I'm covering my head. They must not see.
I'm glad that you saying that because we you don't want divorce to look like it's a glamorous thing.
It's not.
You felt the shame.
It's not.
You felt the shame and the pain.
Yeah.
And although obviously circumstance pushed you to that extent, but it was painful for you to go through. Even seeing that you have to identify with that name because from now on they're gonna name you that.
Yeah.
They're gonna call you that.
Yeah.
And knowing us being Christians and church people, wow.
Yeah.
Huge stigma.
So I got into that room And then they're like, why are you here? I'm like, I'm here to file for divorce. That lady looked at me like, are you sure? I'm like, I'm sure. Can we do this thing? Give me the papers. Give me the papers. And then she said, you must submit to the sheriff. The next step, you submit to the sheriff. And then the sheriff will someone deliver the summons. So when I got to the sheriff said to me, so you have two options. We either deliver the summons or your ex-wife come here with you, and then we hand her on the spot. So I called my ex-wife, like, I'm with the sheriff here.
Yo, this is sad.
So we have two options. We either come here together or they serve you on the spot. Or they bring them to you. It's just like, no, I think if you want us to do it, you can come pick me up. And then they serve me on the spot. And I remember picked her up from her home with our two kids.
My heart.
The other one is 2 years old. The other one is just, I think, 9 months. And then we got out of the car, carrying one child. She's carrying the other.
Yo.
And then we were approaching the sheriffs. First thing first, that lady, Happy, said to us, what is it, guys, that you are doing? You have two kids and you're fighting for the... What is it that you are doing? Yes. Did you think about it thoroughly? I'm like, yes, we did.
You were the first one to answer.
Yeah, I'm like, yes, we did. Let's do it.
Yo.
And then they served her on the spot.
Yo.
And then that's it.
This is so painful for me.
And then I'm driving her back home. We're not talking to each other. She's with the kids. And then we get to her home. I drop her off. I go back to where I stay. It's me and the walls. And the voice is in my head. The voices keep on saying stuff, this and that and that and that and that. And then now, for me, it was the thing of, I filed this month, August, September, we are done. Like, can I quickly be out of this marriage? And then now they respond with an email, your court date is gonna be on the 29th of November. I'm like, who? So we're still gonna go about 2 months.
It's as if you're gonna get something for being divorced, like, because it's like you guys don't even stay together anyway. So what's the rush?
For me, it's like I want freedom from what I don't know. You know, I just want to be free.
From the unknown.
Yeah, I just want to be free from what I don't know.
Maybe also, you know, it's that thing you in your head, you're like, I'm gonna feel lighter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna feel more. Can I just get this part out of the way?
Yeah.
So
it was that.
It's that because he's telling his story as then.
Yes.
So you can imagine the frame of mind you're at. It's like you're carrying this thing and you're like, the sooner this thing comes off, the better. So that I can deal with other things.
Yeah. And for me, dealing with other things was I'm going to Canaan. I've been working in the world
for so long.
For many years, 40 years. I'm exhausted. God, can we get there?
And that time is only 4 years.
Yeah. And divorce, let me tell you, people who are married, when they dream about divorce, divorce say to them, it's Canaan. You are going to Canaan.
Come on, you better preach.
Yeah.
Come on,
you are going to Canaan.
preach.
So when they say we give you a delay of 2 months, I'm like, oh, I can't wait for 2 months. And I remember the 29th when the day came. I called my friend, come and pick me up. The court date, the time it was 10 a.m. So he come and pick me up around 9:30. You don't want to know. When we were driving, we get caught up in traffic. I'm like, I can miss anything on the earth. I can't miss this moment. I cannot afford to wait for the next 4-6 months. I can't.
For another date.
Yeah, we kept on pushing, but we got there on time. When we got there, she was also there. And I called her, I'm like, I'm here.
This woman, wow.
Yeah, I'm like...
She's so cooperative.
Woman of God, wow.
I've put her through a lot.
Yeah, no.
So I'm like, I'm here. She come out of the car, and then we walk together into the building. And then that time, we are talking, me and her. You know, we'll talk. And then we get into the divorce court. We are sitting together like you are sitting there next to each other. And then people are shocked.
Like no bitterness, no fighting.
Like people, they're like, hey man, what's happening? Are you guys here to divorce? Are you sure? You're like, yeah. We're here for that. Wow. And I remember I had a running stomach, went to a toilet. We are waiting for magistrate. Went to a toilet.
Yeah.
I'm busy. Hey, she's calling me.
Divorce is spiritual.
Hey! I released things that I don't know that day. She's calling me. She's like, the magistrate just walked in. I'm like, we gotta cut the long story short. I had to cut it short, ran to the court, and when I got in, they're like, is he Chauke? I'm like, yeah. And then I went to the podium. Went to the podium, and then the magistrate said, plaintiff Clement Chauke, and I'm like, I'm the what? Defendant success Chauke. She's like, I'm the one. And then he started reading the summons, you know. And then he will come up with angles to say to you, are you sure that your marriage is irreconcilable? So I went to court prepared, you know, Googled all the texts.
You don't want to be intimidated.
Yeah, and magistrate will come for you. He will come for you. Divorce is not a child's play. He will come for you.
Sure.
Yeah, so I came with that attitude of saying, if you come for me, I'll also come for you. So I built that thing. So he was like taking me head on. I took him head on until he was like, okay, it is what it is. I'm going to grant it to you. Let's hear from the defendant if she agrees. And then she stood and then she didn't say a lot. She just said, I agree. And then I remember him bring papers together there and there. And when he said a divorce decree granted. That was like that time when I said, what did you do?
Sure, it just happened.
Oh, it clicked at that moment.
It clicked at that moment that now this thing is not a joke, it's real. And I remember when we walked out, the two of us, me and her, she broke down in tears. She couldn't even speak to me. She rushed to the car, and then I left there. When I left, I didn't even know where I'm going, to who. Yeah, because all when you are married, you know from here, from the studio, you are going to who. So I'm like, where are we going? To who? That's the question.
And we with who?
Yeah, with who? You know? I have money. I go to a shop. I don't even know what to buy. I just bought that. I'm like, let me buy something that I've never bought before. Bought that, got home, and I'm with my friend. My friend is looking at me. Hey, your fellow divorces today. I'm like, yeah, we did it. But when we are busy together, you know, I'm with him. The moment he said, I'm going home.
Yeah.
Now I'm alone.
And your alone is different from yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday you were alone in the house.
Yeah, but I knew she will come
back.
Exactly. Yeah. One day she'll come back, a Saturday or a weekend. Now I'm alone. Nobody's coming back, dude. Next day, third day, nobody's coming back. Now reality kicks in. I'm going down on my knees. When friends visit me, I pick up late that there was something strange building in me. Because every time when they wanted to leave, they were about to leave and be like, I'm leaving now. I felt like crying.
Yes.
Yeah, I felt like crying. And fast forward, I realized that, I was using them as a like to fill the gap.
Yes.
So I was I was going through what we call a bargaining phase when you go through, you know, phases of bereavement. So it's that thing of I use being social with people as something to fill in the gap of losing a wife. So I go through that. I'm not even aware. And I remember from there, I decided to go to a psychologist. First session, we're sitting like this. I go there with the energy in the room. I'm like, we cool. And then she started talking to me. 3 minutes, I broke down in tears. And she's like, you have signs of minor depression. Me depressed. The whole entire pastor. We can't be depressed.
I've got all the answers.
Yeah. Then depression kicks in. I watch TV. I remember there's a day I was watching a music video of Jay-Z and Beyonce with their child, Blue, and then they were playing with the child. It kicked in. My sister, friends visited me, I remember. And then they left some bottle of wine in the house. Yeah, when I saw that on TV, I'm like, Jay-Z maintained it. I lost mine. I took the bottle of wine. That was me drinking. And that became the time when I'm like, now we are drinking alcohol. you know. Every sermon that I preached against alcohol, it evaporated.
out the window.
Yeah, it evaporated from my head.
So now you're using this as a numbing
yeah
thing as well.
And then when that happened, you don't see it as you are numbing the pain and all that. It's your new world. And then now I'm like, I'm not gonna go out. I started spending time in the house alone, you know. And then fast forward, the body. One thing about your body, it doesn't even know that you divorced.
Yes.
My body, and can I say it straight?
Yes.
My body said to me, I want that thing you used to give me. I want sex.
Yes.
You know.
Because it's used to it. You don't realize it, but it's been years that it's been there. Even if it's a number of times, but
Now the body says, I want sex, you know. So it's a whole lot of confusion.
Sure.
When you read that scripture of Malachi, where it says God hates divorce, the second part of it speaks about putting violence on your garment. When you divorce, it's like putting violence on your garment. So you are wearing something that violates a whole lot of things. Even your principles, your morals, they become violated. And I'm like, I want to have sex. And then all of a sudden, I tested the waters. And then after doing that, I'm like, did I really do that? And I'm like, no, whatever. And then fast forward, you become promiscuous. Changing ladies there and there. And then when I'm changing ladies, now fast forward, I start to have this thing of, you are drinking alcohol, you are promiscuous, you are no longer going to schools to preach, you are divorced, the church is closed, everything about you, the only thing that's left is work. And then I use work as an escape. So I will always be on my computer as a graphic designer, design. I use it as an escape. But now, fast forward, burnout kicks in. When burnout kicks in, I can't even do my work.
You can't produce anymore.
But also remember, you are diagnosed with depression.
Yeah.
And I think people don't understand how serious depression is. Like, people just think depression is stress. Like, depression is a proper mental health issue. And if you don't deal with it, it will deal with you.
Yeah, it was dealing with me.
So even the one place where you find an escape, which is work, is gonna suffer.
Yeah,
it
suffered.
will suffer.
It suffered. I remember thread lines sending them the work. They say, this doesn't look like you. Dude, what's happening?
You did this.
Yeah. And then boom, the business is affected. I'm no longer making money. Fast forward, you can't even afford the house. What's happening? You're going to leave the house.
Are you taking care of the kids now?
I'm not even taking care of the kids. I'm not. I'm angry. I'm angry at the world. I'm angry at their mother. I'm angry at everything.
And you would think the one who filed for divorce is going to be happier, right? Because this is what you wanted.
Yes.
Yeah.
But and I always say with divorce, I don't know from experience. However, both parties suffer. It doesn't matter who filed. Divorce is divorce. It's a painful process.
Yeah.
Even if you're the one who wanted it, you cannot escape the pain from it.
Yeah.
Even people who aren't even born again or have the faith that we have, divorce is still a painful process.
Yeah, true. You know, according to research, they say divorce is the second painful event after the death of the loved one.
Sure.
So research says that. So
That's how I imagined it. Also, in my head, I look at it as a death.
Yeah, it's the second most painful life event after the death of the loved one.
Because you mourn after that.
You
and
mourn.
You're not even aware. It's just like a very dark place.
And the sad part is, you know, when you have lost the loved one because of death, you bury them. You don't get to see them. You are done, you know. But with divorce, that person, you see them on socials, you see them, and you know, and others will
when you share kids with them.
When you share kids, it's a
you're
stuck with them forever.
It's actually a forever relationship.
Yeah. So going to the phase of co-parenting, that one actually becomes the most difficult phase ever, because I have to talk to her. She wants this, she wants that, and at some stage I was like, I'm no longer gonna give you money. I'm no longer
directly.
Yeah, I'll if you want Pampers, I'll buy and deliver. Hey, I had anger issues.
This man.
I'll buy Pampers, I'll deliver. I'll buy milk, I'll deliver. And then if I feel like she, triggers me or speak to me in a certain way that I don't like, then I'm like,
punish her.
Yeah, punish her. Like,
So
you will take care of the
Mara,
kids. Yeah, I'm out. Yeah. So I'm glad that after everything that has happened, I managed, to take the step. Looked at a divorce as an event, not a place of residence. So this is one thing I would like to emphasize and encourage everyone who has just been through divorce. It's an event and not a place of residence. Don't stay there.
Don't stay there.
So I made the decision that I'm not gonna stay there. The longer I stayed there, that's when I started, doing the wrong things that I was doing.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I've done, and I remember posted on social media, some people were like thumbs up, some were like thumbs down. I said, I divorced, but I'm not a divorcee. So it's one thing to, experience a thing, and then another thing to label yourself after
Yes.
that thing has happened. So I've decided I'm Clement. My name still remains
There's so
Clement.
much more
yeah,
to
and my
you.
surname is Chauke.
I love
So
it.
if you call yourself a divorcee, you wear that thing on you, and then it becomes heavy for you. You can't
Yeah.
even be free.
That alone informs how you behave.
Yeah.
Because of how you labeled yourself. It's a powerful
It
thing.
shapes your worldview.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I really love that. I think just in closing, your wife, your relationship now. Oh wait, how long were you guys married in total?
For 4 years.
For 4 years.
Yeah.
So your relationship now with your wife, where are you
My
guys
ex-wife.
now? Sorry, your ex-wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our relationship now it's good. We've dealt with all the toxicity
Yes.
that was there. We are co-parenting well.
Okay.
I'm taking care of the kids. I stopped the thing of I'll buy stuff and not send you money. Now I do send money to her. I took a step that I'll pay crèche for the kids, and yeah, we are good. We are able to talk. And then I think maybe one of the things again that was delaying progress, it was failure to really let go. So at some stage, I had to really accept what happened and move on with my life. And I'm glad that I did that. And as a Christian, I went back to church. So I would like to say to those who got divorced and then divorce said to them, withdraw from church. If you withdrew from the church that you used to go to, at least find another church
Another
where
home.
you can rebuild yourself.
Start from scratch.
All I can say to them is there's still a big room for you to rebuild, and it starts with treating your divorce as an event and not a place of residence.
Did you apologize to your wife though for all the pain that you caused her?
Yeah, I did, and I remember there was a time when I apologized. First time she said, I'll think about it. I'm still going through everything. And then the second time we spoke about it and I apologized, there was a time she said, I fully forgive you. Yeah, I fully forgive you. And then just to add the disclaimer, one of the things when she said to me, I fully forgive you, she said to me, I really didn't like that after our divorce, you went on radio to speak about divorce because it came across as I'm going there to speak about her. So even now when I'm here, it's not about what she did, it's about what I've done.
about your
And then I take accountability for all the wrong that I've done. Even 10 years later, when my kids watch this, they must know that the daddy took accountability in front of the world and then shook off the dust, and then we soldier and move on. And I would like to say to my kids, grow up and become the best kids as possible, regardless of what happened between your mom and your dad. We had our own fair of challenges. Live your own lives regardless of what your dad and your mom went through.
What a way to end off the show.
I know. Ino
Wow.
is ready to cry right
And thanks
now.
for having me.
Thank you for coming. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I think
Thank you.
you know when we spoke the first time, you basically just gave me one line. He said, "I'm a pastor that went through a divorce and I want to come to your show." But the way his energy on that day, I was like, yo.
Yes.
I'm sure all those people who were in that building that day knew who you were.
Yeah,
'Cause I was
everybody.
like, this guy he's so much. His energy is so much. He's a Papa Church. That's what I'm saying. He's giving me youth pastor vibes. He's just very hands-on. And I was like, you should definitely come to the show because you
must be
hear
friends with
when
my
when
husband's
somebody has you know when someone has gone through something and then they've healed.
Yeah.
But then the way they introduce the subject and the topic, I knew that there is more to that, and I
Yeah.
knew that people need to hear it.
Sure.
And wow, you literally left no stone unturned. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank
for
you.
being so vulnerable because I know it's not easy.
Sure. It's
And
not at all.
It's not at all. There are other people obviously involved outside you as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but we always know that there's a bigger picture.
Sure.
The thousands of people who will watch, the thousands of people who are going through that and think I'll never come out, now know that they can come out.
Sure.
So thank you for turning what you went through into a ministry.
Thank you.
Absolutely amazing that God is using you in this
Sure.
way.
Thank
and
you.
thank you for watching.
I felt like
And-
clapping my
and-
hand. Sent fam. So
Yeah.
we have to close
Yeah,
it.
and for those who would like to interact with me in terms
Yes.
of coaching,
Yes.
let's connect on social media.
Yes.
It's Clement Chauke, Clement
TC
Chauke,
Chauke.
all social media
Clement
platforms.
TC Chauke. Go
We'll
ahead
put it in the
and
description
follow
as
him.
well.
We'll also put in the description box down below. We have to go now. From myself, Innocent.
And myself, Millicent, and of course our awesome guest, Pastor Clement. It is.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Cheers.